Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me? Test, testing.
I can hear you.
Okay, Kendra, not you yet.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm talking to all the invisible people out there. All right. You guys, welcome back to episode 6 of the H2O podcast. And I am so thrilled that we have our show for tonight. I'm absolutely excited about our guest tonight. You get a chance to meet her very soon. But before we get started, I would like to affirm and confirm to you all that possibilities of all kinds are available to you and I. I want you to remember that whatever you put your mind to, it can and it will be accomplished. Kendra, do you have your camera audio on? Maybe. No, you're off. Maybe. Okay. My sound is a little quick right now. There we go. Remember that possibilities of all kinds are available to you and I. Everyone. That means there are no limitations to what you can do. Whatever you put your minds to, it shall and it will be done, and it will be done, and it will be done, and it will be done. I want that to really settle and sit in your mind. You have tuned into the H2O Healing to Optimization podcast. And if you're not feeling the love now, just give it a little time, because if there's one thing that I'm quite sure that will stir up the love in this place, besides the song that you heard playing, which was the new single, I Want to Be in Love, which was released on the Valentine's February 14th day. For those of the lovers and those who like R&B music, soul music, and just like to love or love to love, that song is for you. So please make sure that you go to the website h2o-1.com. Again, h2o-1, and that's O as in octopus, -1.com. As soon as the homepage populates, you will see the new single. But depending on the phone that you use, it may take a few seconds. There's a delay for the audio to actually populate or to pop up. So make sure you wait, because you'll likely see an order form link that takes you straight to the book. Almost doesn't count. If you haven't got that, please be sure that you purchase that. You can go to Amazon and pick that up. All of the hyperlinks are on the homepage. But that being said, give it a few seconds. You'll see the song pop up. Click on the song and you can download the song from my website for $1. If it's not already on Amazon or Apple, it should be posted there and all the other major platforms within the next couple of weeks. Okay, that's out of the way. We're talking about love, and the other part to love that I know that most of you, if not all of you, get really excited about, and that is that F word. F-O-O to the D, food. Tonight, we are going to be continuing with our theme for Black History Month. We're going to be addressing the history of food among the African American people, the American history, and we're going to go back a little bit to talk about some of the histories of our food. But without further ado, what I would love to start us off with, it's a 10-minute plus clip. Please bear with me. I think that you will not be disappointed by being able to see the first parts of this clip, which is called High on the Hog. And it's I believe, the last episode of the first season of High on the Hog, and it's subtitled Freedom. But the reason I selected this clip was because they get a chance to start in the wonderful state of Texas, or they end the series starting with the state of Texas. There's a lot of nice nuanced information and history that's in here. And then, of course, they jump into the food. I'll talk more about this clip once we watch it, but please stay tuned. Check it out. You will not be disappointed. And we're going to come back, debrief some of this clip, and then we're going to go and have a wonderful discussion with our special guest this evening. So stay tuned. I will be back in a few minutes. All right. Mute myself there. Hold on, we're gonna get into it. Y'all just hold the phone, hold the phone. So I don't know if it actually played for you all. If not, then I'm gonna have to insert the clip so that you can go back and watch it. Okay, got a notification saying it wasn't playing. Okay, Kendra, you still there?
I'm here.
Okay. All right, well, come on and show yourself. So did you not see any of it?
No.
It didn't play. Okay. Okay. Well, let me describe to you all some of what just happened, and then again, if it doesn't show up during the record on the recording, then I will be sure to add the link into the bio so that you can go to Netflix and actually watch the High on the Hog series. We only showed the first maybe 10 minutes. So if it didn't show, my apologies, but we will reconcile it once we drop the podcast on Thursday. All that to say, so what just happened is for those who have not had a chance to see the Netflix special High on the Hog, we see a gentleman, and I should have gotten names now that I'm thinking about it. Anyway, there's a young food, I believe, educated man in maybe culinary arts or the history of culinary arts for the African American people in particular, that goes on this journey to um, really research the history of our foods within the African American community. He starts in West Africa, and I forget the exact location, but he starts in West Africa and he bridges this timeline from West Africa to the transatlantic um, slave trade. He goes into the different parts of the South, and then he makes his way on over to Texas for Juneteenth, which is the Southern's Independence Day, if you will, from slavery. Of course, Texas was one of the last states that was actually notified of its freedom, and they started the Juneteenth celebration or commemorated this moment or this event in Galveston, Texas, in particular. And so it made its way on up, and he just this last episode of that particular season, he makes his trail ride from Galveston all the way up to the northern parts of Texas. And it's just a fantastic journey that he has. All that to say, um, food is such an intricate part of everybody's culture. And if you have followed any of the workshop, you know that the first couple of workshops that we went through have dealt with the relationship of food and humans and how it's not just about eating to live, but there are entire cultures and customs and rituals and ceremonies that are connected with food in particular. And I think that this particular documentary, or whatever you want to call it, does a fantastic job of capturing all of those different subparts to food and the journey of food itself. So, Mrs. James, Miss Kendria James, I know that you've already seen the series. You didn't get a chance to watch that one in particular, or what showed. But if you can, if you remember the particular part that I showed, can you just kind of share your thoughts about the young lady? I think her book was Black Girl Bakes, and her efforts to really incorporate a lot of plant-based ingredients or healthier ingredients into her food, and kind of what does that represent for you, or how did you feel about that?
The whole, I guess, series, it was exciting for me to watch. I don't really particularly remember everything she cooked. I remember her making a cake, but I like that she took everything from Black history and tried to reiterate what we eat in a healthier way.
No doubt. And actually, Kendra was the first one of the first ones who encouraged me to go and watch the High on the Hog. And I'm gonna tell you once again, I'm a complete endorser of the show. If you have not seen it, Please prioritize that as your Black History study for this month or next month or any time of the year. But please prioritize that. If you can, what were some of your most memorable moments in the High on the Hog, any one of the series of that season?
One was when they went to some part of Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
That was my favorite. Seeing like, I don't know, I like seeing people cook outside and use what they have to make something good. So they were cooking over the coals and going back doing the history, like over the okra and the greens and the fish. And they would have the fish man come by and they buy from him, and it was like 5 cents. And seeing like okra stew and how that was made, I loved watching all of it. It made me hungry, but I like watching.
Yeah, indeed. And it made us want to get in the kitchen and cook. And I think we both did.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we did. We both made big mama meals.
You showed it. Yeah,
I did.
Yeah, you and me both, because at that point I hadn't had okra in a long time. I hadn't cooked okra in a long time. And I was like, you know what? Black-eyed peas and okra is about to get cooked.
Yes.
And I don't know if you remember the episode that they made, the what was called the macaroni pie.
Yeah.
We know it as macaroni and cheese.
Yeah. I wish that I could go back and taste all of it when it was.
Oh my gosh. Well, and this is the part that I've reiterated in the workshops and in the classes. Mm-hmm. It's the customs that we create around food is so important. And I know as many of us are making more transitions to a plant-based regimen or a plant-based diet, sometimes it can be a challenge. And we're going to get into that more this evening, but there are ways that you can include those more plant-based restrictions, if you will, into your customs and into your culture. But let me do this. Let me be formal for a bit and introduce our guests. Got to put my lookers on and do some reading real quick, yeah. Oh, and there is going to be a new season of High on the Hog. You want to kind of share a bit about that, Kendria?
I just know it's going to be a new season.
Okay. We don't know when it's coming, but first first go and watch the first season, and you will know why it's highly anticipated to watch or to release the second season. Go watch it. Okay, let me read this out. Our guest, Mrs. Kendria James, is a wellness artist with an emphasis in women's beautification through the popping glitter of Mother Nature's nutritional glow-up earth. She is a woman of faith, a wife, a mother, and has been an entrepreneur for the last 10 years. And that needs to be celebrated, because she started before I did on the entrepreneurial side. So I'm her, what would you call it? She's my elder in the entrepreneurial world. So I want to put that out there. Mrs. James is also an advocate of healthy living from your head to toes and what grows in your jars or your garden. Help me to welcome one of my baby sisters, Kendria James. That being said, Mrs. James, would you please share with us if there was anything else you'd like to add to the bio that I may have left out?
I don't know. I'm a hairstylist too, and I like to promote healthy hair from the inside out as well as healthy eating. I want to get all my benefits.
Absolutely. And she's going to talk more about her platform that she's created for all of those who are interested in recipes, healthy living, to help your nails grow, your hair grow, to keep that skin popping so you don't have to walk around looking regular. So please make sure by the end of the video, we're going to include her IG handles, and she's going to be having some things coming up, and I'm definitely going to be sharing the platform with my baby sister so that you all will get a chance to experience some of what I've been able to experience with recipes that we've exchanged together and things that she's just kind of taken this thing on a whole nother level. So I'm not going to talk too much about myself right now because I really want you all to hear about her journey into this plant-based world, if you will. So we're going to start with a few questions, and then we're gonna have a food demonstration. So I won't hold you too long. Okay, that being said, what is your history with food, cooking, and family? Loaded, large question, I know, but let's just start with your food history. What's kind of been your journey in terms of the food that you've been cooking, and just kind of where did you come from with all of that?
I guess our granddaddy, he had a barbecue place, so we grew up eating good.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
if you were able to chime into the previous podcast, I think it was my second podcast, I had my mother on the platform, and she talked a bit about our grandfather, our maternal grandfather, um, having his the Chambers barbecue. He actually had, I believe, 3 restaurants, and he did all this on a 3rd grade education. And so I think that that's really important to highlight. So, okay, so you were exposed to, what's your earliest memory of Granddaddy and his cooking?
Mm, the links, the beef jerky in the little sandwich bags, and and the burgers. Oh, and breakfast. When we would go down there, if we were leaving earlier, if we got there real early, he always had breakfast.
Well, let me
Breakfast,
see.
sausage, gravy,
Okay,
rice,
you said right, and what
biscuits,
else?
pancakes, all that.
Yeah, he did a full course breakfast. Do you remember the
Every
brown
time.
gravy, that homemade gravy he made?
Yes. The rice and gravy was my favorite. I could eat that all day.
And we're from Texas, so I know that some people don't put sugar in their rice, sugar and butter in their rice, but we put sugar and butter in our rice and add that lovely
Extra
thick
gravy.
gravy on top of it.
And it was a little spicy too.
And yes, with that, yes. So if you can't tell, we're somewhat foodies. I've been exposed to real kind of foodies, but we do love our food. We've come from a family of cooks, for real, for real. Um, well, before I go to the next one, I want to share a little bit of history about Mrs. James. And one of those things is that growing up, she did not like to cook at all. And the irony behind her cooking now, you all have to understand, if my mother was here or her father was here, they would tell you, I'm sure none of us saw that she was going to be a person that would enjoy cooking as much as she does. So talk to us a bit about what was the resistance of you cooking.
I didn't really dislike cooking. I was just lazy. I wanted to lay down and I wanted to get up when the food was ready.
Be catered to. I understand that. I understand
Yeah.
that. Well, what is some of your earliest memories around you starting to cook?
I don't know if it was my earliest memory, but I remember when I first started trying to like cook for real. I tried to make hot water cornbread,
Uh-huh.
and
How old were you?
I think I was in high school.
Okay. That's your earliest?
I'm trying to no, I just know.
Because I'm sure finna brag for a bit and take some of this thunder.
I
I'm gonna
don't
let
remember.
I'm gonna let her think for a little bit, and
Huh.
let me say, huh?
Yeah, I don't remember any early memories of cooking.
Well, let me speak as your eldest brother.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was in high school, I would
Mm-hmm.
actually bring her and my younger brother, our youngest brother, in the kitchen. And you guys don't remember me putting together that baked chicken and rice, mixing the mustard and the brown sugar and putting in bell peppers and putting it into that glass container and making that baked rice and chicken?
No.
And you all would actually come into the kitchen and help me to make that. That was, she may not remember, but that was my thing with my younger siblings, is I would, with those two in particular, I would bring them in the kitchen with me and I would cook with them. And they would help me to prepare the meal. I can't believe you don't remember that. And let me tell you, I have a good memory, but she has an elephant memory at least twice as much as mine is. So I'm surprised that she don't remember that. So I'm gonna take some of them bragging rights. Now, both of our parents can cook very well. My mother can absolutely throw down, and the apple does not fall too far from the tree in terms of where she got it from. Her stepfather, her father, my stepfather,
My dad.
her dad, what did I say?
My stepfather.
Her father and her dad. I have a story. I'm not gonna go into it right now, but I didn't like seafood for the longest time. For the longest time. But when I tell you this man can make some catfish that would blow your hair out of the water,
it's
on a whole nother level.
And it's fried catfish.
Say it again.
His fried chicken. Remember, we would go on the trips and he'd fry that chicken and put it in the bag, in those brown paper bags.
Old school. Yeah. Shake that chicken in the bag with the flour. Indeed. Now, I don't remember the fried chicken as much, but I do remember.
It was when we would go on road trips. Like he'd fry it already, before leaving the house, and he'd have it
in the bag. I got you. Mm-hmm. I think I vaguely remember that. I'm vaguely recalling that. But one thing I do remember, because I did not like fish for the longest time, when I had his catfish for one of the first time, and he had been cooking it for years. But one time while I was in high school, on my way out of the house, I grabbed a piece and some Louisiana hot sauce and threw it on some white bread, some Wonder white bread. To this day, I have not had anything that comes close to that fried fish. Now, I don't even eat seafood, but that was off the table. Anyway, I say all that to say that she came from two parents who can absolutely cook. But here's where I'm going to take my bragging rights. I think I was the first one out of all of us that they cooked with first. Her and my baby brother, we call him Bam Bam, but Kenneth Jr. So that's the earliest memory I remember of her cooking. But she talks about this hot water cornbread in high school, which would have been years after our first encounter.
I remember us cooking, like, in the kitchen or being in the kitchen with you, but I don't remember that.
Yeah, yes, I did. Y'all help me out. Got your hands dirty and wet and all of that. Okay, so let's move on to when did you discover that your relationship with food was changing? Let me set this up a little bit more too, if you don't mind talking about it. Now, I know she remembers, but I remember, I want to talk about what I remember us growing up. She always had these belly aches. And I don't think any of us knew what was going on. She would just always talk about her stomach aching. And it had taken years for her to determine what was actually causing. Now, they may have known, at least for me, I didn't discover until years later what was actually causing the stomach aches and things like that. So if you can, talk about some of that, and then we can talk about what really started to pivot the way that you chose to pick up a new eating lifestyle.
So I just remember my stomach always hurting. And even mom, she talked about, like, one time, I guess when they were transitioning me to whole milk, while I was a baby, she said when they would give me whole milk, it would just come up like a fire hydrant. So they never knew why. And I stopped eating meats around, completely I stopped 2017. And that was from my pregnancy, with fat. And so
now who is fat?
My son.
What's Fat real name? His government name?
His name is Dedrick Jr.
Okay.
But yeah, his pregnancy, I couldn't eat meat. Every time I ate it, I got sick. And so I'm a thinker. I stopped eating the meat while I was pregnant and tried to go back right after having him. And I would look at it and I was just looking at the food, seeing it go from raw to cooked. And one day I was like, that's nasty.
I remember that. I remember.
Yes. And then I think one day I was like up late at night, pregnant, and I was, videos come by on Facebook. And so I saw all these different videos of these animals, and I was like, I can't eat that. Like, that walk like me, it bleeds like I do. It has legs, arms. I was just like, I can't eat that.
Right.
And so me having stomach problems and a weak stomach, I was just like, I don't eat that no more. And I stopped.
And what was interesting about Kendria's journey was that I guess that was 2017. So about 2000, I think at the end of 2014 is when I started having problems. Well, actually, I had been having problems eating meat from probably like 19 all the way to when I finally transitioned at about 30, 31. I was transitioning between those years, but I didn't want to let meat go at all. So it had been a few years before she started having, or at least identifying the problems that she was having eating meat and other dairy-based products.
Yeah, because 2014 is when I was pregnant with Kendall and I stopped eating pork.
So and you were how old then?
2014, I was 23.
Okay. And what was interesting is her dad, I think he started having problems eating pork at about 19 or 20.
Okay.
So it was around the same time I then started having problems eating pork, where I would get incredible migraines.
Me too.
I could take ibuprofens, I could take all the strong stuff that I could get off the shelf, and it would not break that migraine. And I never got migraines like that in my entire life.
It would hurt to see, like the bright lights. It was horrible. Indeed. I had to see a neurologist when I was pregnant with her because we thought it was something else. And I stopped eating it. I was like, I can't do that no more.
Yeah. Now, like, I ain't gonna lie, y'all, it took me some years to kind of finally let it go. And maybe if men could get pregnant, maybe it wouldn't have taken me as long. I'll say this. I started just having to feel. So anyway, that's my story. I'll be able to share that at a different time. So, okay, so you got pregnant with fat, you had fat. What was the transition like? So did you just completely cut the meat off at that time, completely cut the dairy products off at that time? What was going on?
With him, I first just cut the meat. Not seafood, just meat. So after that, I started noticing I was feeling better. And then I think I found another video and it was just talking about, I guess, like all the different other countries, how some stuff that they allow in the US is not as clean as it is in other countries. And a lot of the things that they allow here are banned because it's not so healthy. And I saw something and it said that cow's milk had blood and pus.
Yeah.
And I was just like, nope, done with that. Cause I'm a thinker. So if I'm sitting here eating, I'm just like,
Pus and blood in your cheese and in anybody, especially just from the States, period. Cheese is it's a big staple in our foods.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say, being from Texas now, besides Wisconsin, I know they're cheese heads. But in Texas, living so close to the Mexican border and having so much of Texas foods being blended with Mexican foods,
Mm.
Tex-Mex foods, cheese is a staple.
Yep.
Nachos, tacos, burritos,
Enchiladas, mama's
enchiladas.
enchiladas,
I mean, smothered chili and cheese, tamales. I mean, we could
Frito fries, cheese
Fritos.
steak,
Oh my
every
gosh,
pizza,
pizza,
grilled cheese, all of that.
everything. So to have to imagine that at least the regulations in the United States, now I have been educated that in different parts of the world, the regulations are different. Um, they're for the better one because the food quality is much better.
Mm-hmm.
And people are raising their own foods, in which Kendria will have a chance to talk about her transition to becoming a green thumb here. But
Mm-hmm.
one of the things I want to point out is that it was a challenge to let certain foods go, such as cheese. And when you get that kind of information, it for some people it's a no-brainer. But then there's always those parts of your thinking that convinces you, it's not that bad. A little blood and pus on your nachos, you can do it. So kind of coming from what was the moment where you recognized that you just need to focus on more of a plant-based lifestyle, and you knew the benefits and you committed yourself to the change? What was that transition like?
I just started feeling better. I
Mhm,
had better moods.
mhm,
I noticed I had more energy. I was focused. Um, I said was because I slipped, but I'm getting back on it. I said was because when I was like fully 100% doing it, I did it. And it was
mhm,
great. My hair grew, my nails grew, my skin was glowing. I lost weight so fast.
mhm,
I was
mhm.
always everything was just working correctly, like a machine when you get a tune-up.
Right, right, right. And and you said something, I'm gonna ask you, I know the answer, but speak to it anyway. Did you realize how much you normalize feeling bad by eating foods that may have tasted good, but they left you feeling bad? When you start feeling good, did you have that moment where you were like, how did I normalize feeling so bad after I ate every day, every time?
I didn't think of it like that, but now
Mhm.
that you say that, I do. I see a difference because I thought about, I guess, like family health history,
Mhm.
and you always think like, oh, that runs in my family, and although some things or some diseases may run in your family, there's you can do something about that
That's
because
right. That's right.
I'm gonna say 9 times out of 10, maybe even 5 times out of 10. I don't know I don't know everything about health, but I want to do my part. And so I know that some diseases are induced by life, what
Mhm.
you eat, what you allow around you. And so I was like, I don't want that. I don't want to feel like that. I don't want to be taking pills, being up high blood pressure, diabetes. I don't want to do all that. And a lot of those foods that we grew up eating or, just within our culture, they induce those things. And so I was just like, I don't want that for
No,
me.
when you bring up so many different points, I think that's important to talk about. And one of those things is genetics. And
Mhm.
you're absolutely right. The percentage, I don't know the exact percentage, but it is definitely much higher, generally speaking, that you control what you eat. You may not be able to control what genetics will pass along to you, such as obesity or heart disease and those kinds of things. You may be at more risk, or you may be at more of a disposition because you inherited those genes. However, your lifestyle can change those things or deactivate that, if you will. And don't quote me on that term, but I'm just using it to describe how when you control how you live your lifestyle, then a lot of those genetics will not be activated. So you're
Right.
absolutely right. Your lifestyle is what depends or determines much of the ailments that you may experience throughout your life. And one of the things I often reiterate when I talk to clients or I teach the workshops is that we may not be able to control the day that we die, but we do have control over the quality of life that we live. And that's important to understand, that you don't have to get accustomed to feeling bad every time that you eat. And if your norm is every time that you eat, you're either popping a pill or you're drinking some kind of fluid to help the acid reflux go down, or to help with the migraine, or to help with the upset stomach, whatever the case is, these are not normal things. And so I
Right.
want to interrupt that pattern of thinking to believe that this is normal. No, it's not normal. So I got a little passion on that. So you hit a soft spot. And I want to come back to something else that I know that you'll talk about a little bit later, and that is family. That you're a mother, your
Mhm.
wife, you have three children that are looking to you as an example. And what an awesome thing you are providing to your children who didn't grow up the way that we necessarily did. And I'll have to speak more so to my experience because I'm older, but I remember going to the farm with my grandparents, my grandfather, and feeding hogs,
Mm.
or the garden that we had in the backyard of peppers, or going to his sugarcane field and picking off fresh sugarcane and drinking the milk from the sugarcane. Going to these places, we every time we left school, we went up to the barbecue place. So we were around the culture of food and organic food, food that we had raised on a regular
Right.
basis growing up. And
Not
to see
versus what's here now.
exactly,
Mm.
exactly. And yes, we kind of grew up country, but one of the things that I can say is that we never got sick as children, ever. I can
Right.
remember the 2 or 3 times that I maybe got sick. I had an earache. That's another story I have to come back to. And I may have threw up twice.
Right.
Outside of that, I don't ever remember being sick. And partly was because of the regimen that my grandparents followed, and the way that we prepared our food. So anyway, it's not normal to be sick when you eat. And that also changed the game for our psyche, because we experienced what it was like to know what the food process was, growing your food, slaughtering the food, if you will, or cutting down the garden, and to the plate, cooking that food
Yeah.
into your plate. You've provided that for your children, even though they're not necessarily growing up on a farm. You started a small garden over these last few years. Can you talk about that experience and what that's been like for you and your children?
I didn't get to grow up around the farm like y'all did. I only saw little things here and there when we were busy, but I've always really liked growing things. And so when COVID happened, I was like, I can do this and I can do that. And so I started a garden and I had the kids helping and they like it. We love it. It's
Oh yeah.
therapeutic for me.
And talk about, so you started before the actual garden that you have
Mhm.
now. You started what, in jars or little containers?
Containers sometimes. Um, some stuff was by accident, like the sweet potatoes. I remember I had bought some sweet potatoes from Aldi and they started sprouting. And so I just ended up putting them in the yard and they grew, a whole bunch of them. But
Wow.
my thing is, like I said, I'm a thinker. When we got to dig them up, I saw worms. I was like, I ain't eating it. But now with my garden, I do boxes. I made little garden boxes, and I like to call it safe gardening because I don't want to be around all the bugs and all
Right.
that. Yeah.
But let me tell y'all something. She's doing her thing with this garden. And I don't know if she'll have a chance to show you some of her collard greens that she's growing, but she has really, really taken this thing to another level. And it really has been a blessing for me because we've been able to exchange so much information. Check that out.
I don't know if you can see them.
Yep.
The greens and the kale.
Nice. And again, these are grown from her garden. So she knows exactly what's in her food. She don't have to be concerned about all of the everything else that, we may have to be concerned about her trying to wash your food off because you know who touched it and what kind of pesticides been on your food or what type of reactions you're going to have. She don't have to worry about all of that. Now, I understand that everybody can't do that, but we just share this as some motivation to say that it's possible and you can do it. And so I was going somewhere with that, but let me go on because I want to get us to this food demo that you have. Okay, plant-based life. You've kind of talked about just the challenges. Well, can you talk a little bit more about just kind of how the journey has been overall, and then what were some challenges or what have been some challenges about making this transition over into a more plant-based lifestyle, and then what's been the easiest parts of it?
So for me, I guess the first challenges was kind of figuring it out because before, like when I started, you heard about plant-based, but you didn't really hear about it. Like it wasn't as popular as it is today. And so, you will go places and you tell somebody, oh, I'm not eating meat. And they're like, okay, we got salad.
Right.
And I was like, every time I was like, I don't want no dang salad because we grew up eating. So I was like, I still like to eat. I want to eat good. I don't always want a salad or
flavorful. Right. We got salad and beans, and most people don't even say beans. They just say a salad. It's dry, nothing on it.
Yeah. So that's what kind of made me start wanting to see what's what with the vegan food. We would go places and everybody else could eat and I wouldn't.
Right.
Because you didn't know what was in there or they didn't have plant-based options. And so
are you stuck eating French fries, chips and salsa? French
fries, chips and salsa, salad.
Salads.
You can get all the, not saying all, but most sides. Or if not, if it's a hot side, you got to worry about if it's butter in there or cooked in meat juice, like all that. So I started kind of making just doing some experiments.
Yeah. So what was the easiest part for you?
Seeing how I looked and felt.
Nice.
Because I'm good to myself, I feel better. So I was just like, I like this.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And like you said, when you feel good, you feel better. You look better. I mean, and all those things are definitely natural incentives to keep the work up. Those endorphins and dopamines that all of that stuff is released when you make that when you see those kind of results.
Right.
Okay. All right. I think we're getting to the goodest part of it all. And before we go there, what's your 3 plant-based go-to meals?
So number 1 is the smoked meatloaf. The kids always ask for that.
Ooh, that sounds good. Now, how you get that smoked meatloaf? Well, we don't shade you. So smoked meatloaf. What's 2 more?
Vegan chili. And the chickpea tuna.
Delicious.
Yeah, and we like our collard wraps too. So yeah, all of those.
I need to stop lifting my arms. I always see my sweat pits under there. Whatever, you all. I'm excited to see my sweat pits. I saw that on one of my other videos. I'm like, dang, I got a lot of sweat under my pits. I don't normally sweat that much. Anyway, don't act like you don't do it. You don't sweat. All right. So here is the creme de la creme of the show. And this is our food demonstration. My beautiful queen sister has prepared a couple of meals for us in celebration and in lieu and in light of Black History Month. She put together some plant-based vegan soul food items for us that I'm excited about. And if this excites you, this is more reasons to stay tuned for her material that will be posted on her platform. She's going to be talking about all kinds of things and giving you all some different tips on different foods that you can cook. And fingers crossed, we will have something together this year where we're going to be sharing our cookbook and our food journey with you. So stay tuned. So you want to kind of walk us through and tell us what you got?
Okay, so I'm gonna be making, I kind of came up with this recipe because I was watching another thing we should watch with Black History, the Great Soul Food Cook-Off.
Oh, nice.
Yes, and so I got really excited because although I don't eat them and I think it's gross, I saw them cooking chitlins on there. And I was like, where do you see Black people as the chefs, the judges, and go back and talk about the history of food and actually have like a cooking contest? I was like, that's amazing.
Right,
So,
right.
I saw a guy on there, he made some sweet potato French toast.
Ooh.
And I was like, I never heard of sweet potato French toast, but it just made me think like, okay, if he could put it in French toast, what else can he put it in?
Sure enough.
And so I had baked me a sweet potato one day because I got them and I was like, I'm about to start eating back healthy and I want sweet potato.
Uh-huh.
And then I started thinking, I was like, I've been wanting some grits too. But every time I wanted grits, it was after the time or I would forget about it. So I don't know where this recipe came from. I guess it came from God, whatever. I guess so. But
download, spiritual download. Come on now.
I thought about Mama too, because Mama always used to make that blackened catfish with the green, what was it? The blackened catfish, the creamed greens, and the sweet potato casserole.
Oh yes.
And so,
I remember part of that meal. Yeah.
And so together, I don't know. I just looked at. I didn't want to go buy any more groceries. I was like, I know I can make something out of what we have here. And my greens were growing, and the freeze was coming. So I was like, I want to go use my greens. I don't want them to go to waste. And so I came up with baked sweet potato grits with sauteed greens, mushrooms, onions, and kale.
Oh, now, are you going to be able to share this with the people, or you're just going to share the meal? Share the ingredients.
I'm gonna share. I'm just kind of starting some of the things.
Okay.
To show you. I don't know how to. Okay, so can you see
Yeah, we can see it now. Yeah. It's a little blurred, but yeah, we can see them greens.
It's the thing.
Okay.
Okay, so that is the collard greens from my garden, the kale from my garden.
Y'all see how happy she sounds when she say that? The collard green from my garden.
I don't sound that country.
Girl, be happy about them greens.
Okay? I am. And so I got some, I sound real country now.
That's go and get that country.
Some mushrooms and some purple onions. And so, I also had some cut up jalapenos because I like spicy food.
Oh, that sound. You put the cut up jalapenos in where?
And the kale, the collard greens, the mushrooms with the onions, and saute it all together.
Oh my! You're trying to get folks' lips swole.
You know how I like my food.
Try to get them hot lips.
Yep. And so I had all that, and I got it all from Aldi, everything except for my kale and my collard greens. So I was like, I made it, and right now I'm cooking the things up. But I had my baked sweet potato, and so I was like, let me try to throw this in here and see. It was so good. And then so I didn't make a lot because the girls wanted grits too. So I was like, I'm not gonna make these because I don't know how they're gonna feel about the sweet potatoes. And so they tasted it, and Kendall got the other sweet potatoes, and she mashed it up and went and made hers. I was like, okay, it's good. But you know, sometimes you make something, you hungry, you don't know if it's good or not.
Right.
And so I was just telling Mama about it. And one day she came to the salon kind of early, and so I made her some, and she tore it up. And you know, Mama honest.
Yeah, brutally honest.
Yeah, it's all out of love.
It is out of love. We got plenty of stories to tell about her honesty. If you want to be a real cook, go to Andrea's Hell Kitchen. She'll get you right. You know, I ain't lying. Real quick, I made some spaghetti. She asked me to make some spaghetti. Some spaghetti one time. And you know me, I like to be festive. I like to try stuff and just try new stuff each time I cook it. I don't like the same stuff each time. Right. And I call myself sprucing the spaghetti up, you know, with little with bell peppers and you know, extra stuff. You know, I called it my Southwestern spaghetti. She got home from work. She talking about, what is this? I'm asking her, you know what, Southwest spaghetti? I don't want this. But you know, my feelings didn't get hurt too bad because you know I can eat anything I cook. So y'all, that one man's trash, another man's treasure. Because I tore that spaghetti up. But anyway, but she liked it. She enjoyed it, huh?
She loved it. She was telling folks. I was like, I know it's good if Mama telling folks, because Mama said it was nasty too.
Sure enough.
And so will Kendall.
No surprise.
No. And so when I made it, I was just like, this is really good. And I made it, I think like twice. I was just like, I don't want to wear myself out, but it's really good. And it's good for you. And so when I was thinking about that, I was like, you know, a lot of the times we want brunch and you don't want to seem like, oh, it's super healthy, it's not gonna be good, you know.
Right.
Sometimes we want to indulge. And so I was thinking that's like a good brunch food.
Yeah, it is.
And you know, we like our kale and to saute, you know, our greens and the mushrooms together. And so I put it together and it almost gives you like a shrimp and grits or fish and grits type.
Nice. So what are some of the health benefits for women to eat sweet potatoes?
So sweet potatoes are, I believe they're good for menopause. And they have lots of estrogen. And so they're really good for women, and especially around our times of the month. They help aid in, you know, all our hormone changes and pain. It helps with all of that.
Nice. So it's almost like a superfood for women in particular, huh?
Yeah, because the kale, you know, our kale and greens, I like to saute them versus cook them down how we usually have them for like holidays and stuff, because you keep the texture and the nutrients while it still tastes good.
For sure. Yeah, even though I haven't had that meal in particular, because we're texture people, most of folks are texture people when it concerns food, but we know that when we say we're texture people, there's a certain kind of blend of textures that just that really
go
meld
together.
well together. Yeah.
Right.
And when you describe the sauteed greens with that spice, because that, you know, when you cook kale or collards, kale in particular, it almost releases a sweetness
Yes,
to it, and it's
that's
like this bittersweet kind of taste. So
right.
to have that with that spice of the jalapenos, is that what you use?
Yes, the jalapenos, and then like the, I guess you could say, meatiness of the mushrooms.
Oh, oh, I know that's
And
good.
yes, and so, you know, all our greens, that's good for our hair, skin, and nails. And
Absolutely.
that's
What's your oils? What oils did you
so
saute that in?
grapeseed oil,
Nice.
which I got from Aldi as well. I like to go to Aldi because they have, you know, a lot of their stuff is affordable, but I don't know if a lot of people know the same person that is over Aldi's, he's brothers with the man who has Trader Joe's. In Trader Joe's, they
No.
have a lot of healthy foods.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So here it is. That's the,
Nice. Bring it a little closer.
I don't know what's
Okay, there you go.
can you see it?
Yeah, it's a little blurry, but let me just reiterate something about the grapeseed oil. Something that you may want to be aware of, audience people or that'll watch this, is that grapeseed oil is one of the oils that actually does not change its pH balance when you cook it. So it remains alkaline when you cook it. So you don't have to worry about your food becoming acidic when you cook your foods in that particular oil. I think avocado is another oil that also remains alkaline when you cook it. So there's those two oils in particular are good go-to oils when you are planning to fry or to saute. So that's something to remember for people who are out there watching.
Right. And sometimes, like, you know, when I did my grapes, I just add vegan butter. All the time when I'm cooking, what I come to realize is a lot of the stuff that they made vegan or plant-based, they have duplicates of everything that we usually cook with.
For sure.
So a lot of people say, oh, vegan is so hard, this and that. All you have to do is figure out your textures.
Right.
We season our food. That's how we make anything taste good. Meat, fish, vegan food, seasoning is seasoning. Now you have to make sure you're looking and, you know, keeping up with like sodium, you know, for health benefits, as well as, you know, some stuff has beef powder or something like that. But if you just read and do a little research, it's not hard at all.
What are some of your go-to seasonings that you use?
For one, it's cayenne. I love my spices all the time, every day. White pepper, black pepper, pink salt. I don't use much of white salt anymore. I stopped that when I was pregnant with Kendall as well. Because I had the high blood pressure scare with my preeclampsia. And so I was trying to do everything I could. So I've been using pink salt to cook with since 2014.
Nice.
So, and then I use like onions, mushrooms. That's a lot of vegetables are seasoning. Seasoning is nothing but dried up vegetables. So
great point.
Do with that what you will.
And those, as she mentioned, what makes food taste so awesome is how you season your foods. And because those who know me on my platform, especially as a nutritional coach, my emphasis is plant-based eating, although I'm not necessarily restricted to that. That is my big push. So anytime that I share information or I have people on the platform, I do like to push that agenda with great intention. That being said, anytime that you are cooking your foods, look for those seasons, something that she touched on. Look for those seasons that are generally powdered. So between your pink Himalayan salt or your sea salt, these salts are mineralized salts that contain much of their minerals. So when you look at most of your pink salts in particular, those pink Himalayan salts, they have about 88 of the 120 minerals that your body is made up of. So that's a huge, huge incentive on reasons why you want to include these kinds of salts into your meals, because you're also getting the proper minerals, micronutrients that you need when you use these seasonings. Onion powders, your cayenne powders, pepper, your, oh, look at that. Okay, let me hush. Okay, break that down to us. Look at that.
Okay, so this is our kale and greens, mushrooms, onions. This is I didn't touch on that. This is the heart of palm, which I use for fish replacement.
Hold on, Kendra, can you take the effect off just for one moment so it'll show clear?
Hold on, is that better?
Yeah, that's much better. Okay. Yeah, right, keep it right there.
Okay. You got it?
Yep, that's good right there. So go ahead, the heart of palms.
Okay, so I like to use heart of palms for my fish. When I'm doing like fish replacements, I like heart of palm and what is the other one? Banana blossom.
Yeah.
And so I kind of incorporated the heart of palm and did it blackened just to kind of go with it like mama's dish. The baked sweet potatoes, the cream greens, and the sweet potato casserole.
Yeah. And let me, again, one of the things I really love about my sister is that a lot of the recipes that I currently cook today, I've inherited from her, from her ideas. So I really, really want, I want to see her win in her platform, because I'm telling you, when I've cooked the foods, they have been so on point and they've been so good. So I haven't tried this meal yet. You can rest assured that this is going to be something that I put on my list to cook, but I know it's already good. That being said, I've made fish tacos. I've made a tuna with the heart of palms. I've made at least 3 different meals with the heart of palms in particular that have been fantastic, man. Fantastic. Okay. So you look like you got some distractions over there. Tell me to sit down somewhere.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Now, grown folk trying to do grown folk things now, Mr. James. Okay. Okay. And that's her incredible husband over there, Mr. Fat James, the dad. Okay, you wanna share anything else about that meal?
Oh, so the heart of palm, it just has lots of fiber. And fiber is really good for us, like a natural probiotic. So I like to kind of think about what I want to make and also incorporate things in there that's going to help me. Baked sweet potatoes are good for you. Kale, we have our greens. Mama always told us any meal we eat, we need to have our greens.
Yeah. Too many starches. Put some greens in there.
Well, this is a double starch, I guess, because you have the grits and the potato, but this is not a super healthy dish. It's still healthy for you, but we're not thinking about that right now.
Right. We just think about soul food, y'all. Soul food.
It's good for you, but it's also good to you.
You better say that again, girl.
Yeah.
Huh. Snap fingers on that. Okay. Do you have anything else you want to show us?
As far as the
food or anything like that, because I want to share something.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Firstly, great meal, great go-to meal. Again, She'll have videos that she posts that you'll be able to get. Huh?
Super affordable.
You want to give them just a breakdown of the prices that you had or that you spent on that?
Yeah, so my greens, of course, they were free, but you can get a bunch of greens or a bunch of kale for, let me say, up to like $1.29 now. Easy. Mm-hmm. The heart of palm, I get them from H2O. I don't know if you can see that can, but I get them whole from H2O, and it's about $2 for a can, and it comes with about 6 or 7 heart of palm each. Grits, of course, $1 something, dollar and some change, and the sweet potatoes, the bag was like $2. So that's using. I didn't use all of each ingredient. And then, onions. Who doesn't have onions around the house? You can use minced onions. The mushrooms, it's optional. Everybody doesn't eat mushrooms, but I like to add as much flavor as I can.
And for those who are wanting to make that kind of transition, that information alone should dispel the myth that it's unaffordable. You can't afford it. It's too much money. There are ways that you can do it. And I hope that you get a chance on your platform to share the video with the, was it Dollar Tree or something? The girl went to Dollar Tree and just purchased a lot of food.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a great video. That kind of information is good to pass along because you got to start where you start with what you have. And I think that's important to reiterate. That said, you probably can see my screen. I shared it. I want to just give you all at least 3 different resources that you can go cop. This cosmic cell food, they kind of got me on here because I saw Dr. Sebi and I ended up purchasing this little book. This thing was like $40 for a bunch of material that I already had. But nonetheless, it's Black History Month, and even beyond Black History Month, I wanted to highlight Dr. Sebi. If you haven't seen him, I know much of his videos have been removed from YouTube for whatever reasons, but go and search him out because he is definitely a food science genius in my book. I've incorporated a lot of his teachings around alkaline foods, and I've seen radical changes in my life. So this is one resource that you can go through. We touch on this in the detox class, some of the information from here, as well as the precision nutrition manual that I use. Another person to maybe check out is Chef Aki, Electric Foods. She builds on the sciences and some of the foods that Dr. Sebi describes in many of his platforms and many of his material. There's a lot of great recipes. She shares some really fun stories along the way and very informational. So again, this is the Delicious Indigenous presents Electric, a modern guide to non-hybrid and wild foods. Very informative, especially those who are on a nutritional journey. And then here is Bam's Vegan Food, which is a classmate of my youngest, of Kendria's, from Arlington, Texas. The pictures alone are, here he is here. The pictures in his book alone are just, they're very appealing, eye-catching. Let me show you some of these pics real quick. And I think I got all of, besides the Dr. Sebi kind of fake book, I ain't gonna blast y'all like that because you may be watching, come back. But anyway, these last 2 books, very affordable. I think under $5, $6 e-copies, maybe $10 or whatnot. So if you are lost in the sauce and you don't know where to start in terms of food products or meals, these are great resources to invest in and get some really neat, quick ideas. And then of course, whatever Miss Fat James, Mama Fat James over there shares with you on her platform, I think that'll be a great start. So I want to share a little bit of that with you. Let's start to wrap this thing up, dear. Are there anything that you would want to share maybe to the women in particular who are maybe single mothers or mothers, wives, just how to manage doing this kind of a lifestyle and make it affordable, make it, just give them some encouragement on how to make it practical for them, kind of just some baby steps. Can you just share some information with the women in particular?
What I can say is just try it. Just try it. Don't knock it till you try it. Because a lot of people say, oh, I can't eat this and I can't eat that, but you can do it. Just do a little research, get you some stuff. Just like if you have food at home, you got extra ingredients laying around, try to make something, it'll be good. If you know how to cook and you know how to season, even if you don't, just try it.
How easy is it to just look up a TikTok video, a YouTube video, or how easy is it just to do that?
Yes, put your health first because you want to feel good. When you feel good and you're a mother or a woman, you're taking care of everybody. You can't take care of people if you don't feel like yourself. So do it for you and the family. Okay,
and I got two last questions. How important has it been that your children have seen your eating change or your eating lifestyle? And what has it done for them?
It's very important because I want them to see that it's okay to try new things. And I also want them to know that you can eat and enjoy what you're eating and it be healthy. Everything that's good to you doesn't have to be bad for you. So just, I like that they're learning to try new things. Although, sometimes something might not look as good. They try it. Or even if you want to try something new, try making it look like what you're used to and using those same seasonings. 5 times out of 10, it'll work out.
Yeah.
And then what? Then they'll want more because they see the changes. It's a world of different recipes out there and vegetables and plant-based this and that you can use for everything nowadays. So just try something once a week, 1 meal a week. Just try it.
You heard it best. Be like Nike and just do it. Subtitle, just try it.
Yep.
Just try it. I thought it was so funny that you would share with me how your kids would actually want you to prepare their meals to take to school. I thought that was really funny.
Yes.
Any final words?
The school food is nasty. Can we this? Or they're not spoiled. They want me to cook everything and bring it to the school hot. And I'm like,
you got hot class kids.
But
Compliments to the chef.
Yeah.
Oh, let me mention your IG handle. Okay, so Kendra can be found at her IG handle at I am Drea the Stylist, and that's IAMDREATHESTYLIST and at Drea's Ideas at DREA Drea, DREASIDEAS at Drea's Ideas. So for more information about some of the things that she's doing, please go find her there. We will put it into the bio of the video on YouTube. And any final words, Miss James?
So just about the handles, the I am Drea the Stylist, that's my hair page, and Drea's Ideas, that will be more of like my recipes, the DIYs and stuff like that. I don't have posts on there yet, but I plan to make this one my first post.
Show better. Okay. All right. Well, love you, baby. Thank you so much. You did a fantastic job. You make it grow, you make it grow, you make it grow, you make it grow. Break it down, break it down, break it down. All right. All right, love you. I'm going to take us out with the I Want to Be in Love song. So you all, thank you again for joining us. We will see you soon for another podcast next week. We have the topic Healing Through Relationships Part 2. We got more people on that show, so I'm looking forward to that conversation. Miss James, thank you again. I give you back to your husband and your family, and we'll talk to you soon. Love you.
All right. Thank you. Love you.
Proud of you.
Thank you. Proud of you.
All right.
All right.